How's it, Dan? What's happening, boys?
That's true. How's it, Dan?
Good. How we all doing?
Yeah, good, man. It's sunny and it's warm in Joburg today and yesterday as well, 20 degrees. It was Father's Day yesterday, actually. Happy Father's Day to me for yesterday, and happy Father's Day to all the other fathers out there for yesterday.
And my dad, because I clearly forgot.
Did
Yeah,
you?
same.
Oh, no.
Uh,
Yeah, please. I think a lot of people forgot yesterday. Funny enough, even I woke up and I initially forgot, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's Father's Day today." My kids, my kids are going to be my slaves, or were my slaves. So
oh, nice.
awesome day. Played some rugby. Hey, Dad. We coached Dan on the rugby field.
Yeah,
It was a
pretty
good day.
cool session yesterday. Yeah, a lot of kids are coming up, and we're enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, great. At a little rugby club on Sundays. And you, Dave, how
Yeah.
was your rugby? Your how was your weekend?
Weekend is quiet. Cape Town is cold and miserable, and weekends are just trying to catch up on some sleep, get outside, be in the outdoors because the weather was actually good this weekend. So try to get out a little. But yeah.
Yeah, and well done for the win, Dave. If you didn't know, Stormers beat the Bulls on Saturday night in the
Stormers.
final championship.
I'll be honest, Drew. I don't care about the Stormers. I have no love for the Stormers.
I know. But it was a good game, Dan? Stormers beating the Bulls. I thought the Bulls would
I was
take it.
definitely rooting for the Stormers. I wouldn't sleep if the Bulls won. Geez, all my might smack. So yeah, I'm glad the Stormers won.
Oh, geez. Oh, hectic. So it's a good weekend of rugby. But if you just joined us, this is Andrew Dave's Coffee Chat. Dan, you here from Sapper Youth. Welcome. I can see Brad Wright's join us. How's it, Brad? How you doing, man? Who else we got there? Ntaki?
Yeah.
Joining us. And yeah, I think there's quite a lot happening, eh? I mean, we're in June now, halfway through the year. I mean, Dave, I've just seen petrol prices going up, electricity prices going up all across the world. This bloody Russian war, the impact that it's having globally is pretty hectic, and it looks like we're slipping into a little recession there. What are your thoughts around
that? It's going to get worse. Just hold on. The dollar's going to take a dive fairly soon. The American economy is definitely suffering from it. So, there's some conflict in there. There's some debates because, like, if you look at Shell and the major gas producers, their profit margins have gone up multiple factors at this point over the past few years. So they're profiting off everything. And I know South Africans feel the same about our government taxes on our fuel. So there's definitely, it's causing pain. It's going to cause some conflicts, but we'll see what actually changes. I don't think much.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think, we're in for a ride. I mean, interest rates, Dave. Do you think interest rates are going to go up this year?
In South Africa, we'll still get another interest rate hike probably later this year. I would be surprised by another 0.5, but I'd expect another 0.25 at the very least before the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely. I also think interest rates will go up. And Dan, what do you think?
Definitely something very interesting, and it just reminds me of the bet y'all had to be the interest rates. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully they don't go up because
which unfortunately I think they will. But give us your input, Jerry, Jean-Paul, how's it, Brad, Kentucky? Give us your view of feedback on where you think interest rates are going to go by December this year. I mean, Dave and I had a bet. I think it was a 2020 or 2021, Dave, that you and I had a bet with regards to interest rates and where they're going to go to. And I think this year I was at 8 points.
8.5 this year by December, which at the moment you're on track to win that.
Yeah.
What was yours?
I put a bet on 8. Dan, I don't think I have a bet for you, so I've already lost. Ridwan might win it. Ridwan and Nico might win it though with an 8.75 or 9%. We'll see how fast it climbs, but it's going to keep on climbing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I hope you guys stress tested. Jean-Paul's over there. Jean-Paul, you've already betted. You already put a bet down at 8%. You were with me. You lost already.
That's his new bet, 9.25, eh?
I didn't get to pick new bets.
Brad, what do you reckon? Let's see what Brad reckons. We'll put his bet down as well. Let us know what's going to happen to what you think is going to happen to interest rates. And then while you're doing that, we'll jump into what events are coming up this week and next week. In the meantime, give us your view on this whole, what's going to happen to South Africa with regards to the rise of food prices, energy price, everything's just going up and up and up. What's your view on that? Cool. Let's see. Andrew should know better than betting against me. Who's that?
You have to check the Facebook group to see who that was.
Good jump into Facebook here. So while we're doing that, Kerry Lee, it's good to see you guys. Happy Father's Day for yesterday. Thank you. It was great. Let's maybe just jump into what's happening. It's still fairly quiet, but I know we've got a few events coming up over the next 2 weeks. It was Nico. Nico. There we go. Had a lekker bright Nico's house on Saturday night as well, which is good.
Cool. Let me run through the events real quick. It's the end of the month, so it comes down to support. So this Thursday, we've got our mastermind for our professional and intermediate, as well as the Sapling youth guys coming in for a mastermind. That's Thursday on the Thursday 23rd. Next week, Tuesday, Andrew has a webinar with Mark Berman talking about developments and whether or not development is a viable strategy for you as an investor. It is definitely a viable strategy, but whether it suits you or not, that'll be the big question that we'll be looking to answer on Tuesday nights. So that's from 6 o'clock. I'll put all the links in the chat box.
And Dave, just on that, so for that webinar next week, Tuesday. So I got a message from one of my students today. There's a piece of land that we analyzed at the last 3-day workshop we had with Mark Berman. A real live deal. I went to go view it. And I think the asking price was $4 million or something. And we ran the numbers. And the deal would only work at about 2 million or 2.5 million. We found out today that someone paid something like 4.5 million, paid more than the asking price. And that's scary because often people, they run high-level numbers on a deal, or they think that they're just going to make money because they're developing and they're building. Building prices, the cost of materials is going up. That property still needs to be rezoned. So where will a property prices be, but as well as building material costs in 2 years' time? So that person who's put the offer in, unfortunately, I think they're going to lose money. So that's what Tuesday night's all about. It's about what questions should you ask when you analyze, or when you're looking for a piece of land. What do you look for? What do you ask for? The put and all the pitfalls. I think, Dave, are we starting at 6 or is it 6:30?
Starting at 6.
6, okay. So 6, probably a good hour, maybe an hour and a half. So if you want to find out if development is for you, or if you have any questions regarding that, join Mark and myself next Tuesday. Cool.
100%. So that's next week, Tuesday the 28th. The link is in the chat box for you over there. And then the last event for the year would be our coaching and legal support on the 30th. So for those of you who are either intermediate or professional members, or you're on any of our courses, you have access to the coaching and legal support webinar where Andrew and I take some time to answer some questions. We'll also have the team from Intergen and Bruno Smart attorneys there to answer the more complicated questions that Andrew and I aren't qualified to answer. And that takes us through. So if you have any questions about those, you can always email support@sapropertynetwork.com. We can go through there. And Dan's got an event that's not on my calendar.
Cool, yeah. So on the 30th of June, Northwest University, through one of our professional members, Dr. Malefe, invited us to host an event, to host over students from the University of Northwest. In a cool event. If there's anyone out there within the network, it will be cool to see you at the event, to network with you. And yeah, it's going to be super exciting. Going down with a couple of our partners who might be there. Ben Malapile will be there and start teaching youngsters the different career paths, entrepreneurship, investing as a whole. So not just youngsters, if you are, and it would be awesome to see you and network with you, huh?
Yeah, definitely, man. And if that's going to be a big success, Dan, then it's to the next university, and just get as many youth entrepreneurs involved, eh? Which will be great.
Yeah, definitely. That's the tour of South Africa.
Yeah, that'll be awesome, man. Nice one. If you have just joined us, it's Andrew and Dave's Coffee Chat. Please tag your friends in or colleagues. if they're interested in property. If you have any property questions, anything to do with property, please post it in and ask it now. I know Dan's actually been involved in the deal. I went to go view that deal in Pretoria, Dan, about a month ago, or a few weeks ago, actually. To tell us more about the deal, how we found the deal, the asking price, the potential in the deal. What's that deal all about, eh?
Yeah, so a member of youth actually found the deal. It's down in Pretoria, a nice area, market 0.5 million rand, but that tons of work. It needs a new garage because especially when you are catering for a first-time home buyer, you definitely need sort of like a checklist of things they would prefer in their house. So that house doesn't have a garage, so we'd need to put in a garage, which is super expensive. We need to redo tiles, do painting, and so many other things. The idea is we're looking to flip it. A member of Sapin Youth brought it to us, so he's going to go through with it. Pumi is his name. And yeah, renovation, it's going to be around the 300, 400 mark. And yeah, they first wanted 1.1 million rand. Sounds like a good deal. Value is 1.5 million, and they won 1.1 million rand. If there isn't a lot of work to do, that sounds like a good deal. But when we then went deeper, did more research, we saw, geez, we need so much more work for this, huh?
Yeah, and I think also with that property, Dan, we'll probably need to sell it below the market value anyway because of where it's situated on the reeds, right? So security is an issue. So we're going to make sure that we're either building the walls up higher or putting security fences around. There's no garage, so we need to potentially add a garage in. So yeah, I think 1.1 or 1.2 is quite high, but I think 600 will do, 600 grand, which is almost 50% of the asking price, which is good. That's a cheeky offer, hey?
Yes, it's a cheeky offer, but we've prepared the seller for that. We're putting the offer later today. Let's see what he comes back with. It will be an interesting one.
So now, Dan, we always talk about below market value offers. We always talk about cheeky offers. If your offer is accepted in the first round of negotiations, you've offered too much. If you're embarrassed by your offer, you've offered too much. How have you primed the seller, whatever you said, whatever you've done, for him to accept your 600,000 rand offer?
The first thing, you definitely understand the reason why they sell it. He needs cash for another project he's busy with. So he doesn't have time, and he has got like 30 agents working on it. So when going to him, I just told him, look, I'm a property investor. What we do is we buy houses. You wouldn't have to put it on the market and then look 3 months to finding a seller and all that. Look, however, we might offer you low. So I told him in advance, offer low, because obviously we're trying to make a profit for our partners, investors, but yet you just have to be careful. In this case, I just had to be blunt with him because he is a developer, does not have the time to go around having soft stories and stuff. So I just had to be honest with him. And I prepped him. I told him, look at the renovation bill from the contractor. For us to make sure it is pleasing towards a first-time home buyer, we need to do A, B, C, D, E, which will cost us 500,000 or 300,000 rand. And he had a look at it. He definitely agrees with us. That's a good thing. And I worked with him. I just told him, look, I might not be the best for you, but I would probably be the quickest. So yeah, I had to. It was an interesting one. I had to be open.
Yeah, but I think it's very important that you do that kind of stuff when you're negotiating a very low offer. Because if you just go in with your low offer and you haven't primed anyone, people take offense. People just think that you're chancing your luck. When you actually justify and you break the numbers down and you explain the risk that you're taking and you explain it properly, when you do put that cheeky offer on the table, it's actually not even a cheeky offer, it's a realistic offer in these times. I think with the property market and the recession we're going into, I think there's going to be more stock in the market. I think some buyers are going to put their foot on the pedal, and we're going to see more stock coming up. That's my opinion. And so especially if we're going into a flip, hey Dan, if that property is going to be worth 1.5 million and we can show buyers, you'll probably still need to sell that property at 1.350 or 1.4. right, and give the buyer a discount just to shift it very quickly. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely, it's definitely, like Dave said, stress test your deals. Yes, the market value and all the other property listed in the area on Property 24, E5 1.6. How are we being competitive? Can we list it below market value as well to ensure that we do get the right buyers and it's not waiting too long in the market? So yeah, definitely have exit strategies as well. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting time we're headed towards, huh?
Yeah, no, it is, eh? And it's exciting times, right? Things are going
And
to change and move. Which is great. Yeah.
And in Cape Town, Dave, are you much opportunities?
Cape Town's a little more difficult. There's definitely tons of opportunities. As a matter of fact, me and Darren are having an event in a couple of weeks talking about that. But for the most part, Cape Town at the moment, it's all about their capital appreciation. So we're actually a little bit more of old school. Drew will remember this in the old days, like buy, renovate, force the appreciation, and then sell. Cape Town's prime for that. Our housing shortage is huge. Our demand from all the people leaving Joburg and Durban is massive. So we've got a huge buyer's market at the moment. So there's opportunities, and you've just got to find the right property and then actually develop it or expand it or put another unit on or subdivide it, something like that. If you do that, I ran the numbers with some coaching clients the other day. On a 600 square meter plot, we subdivided into four units and probably clear about 600,000 rand on the development. And that was assuming selling pre-built. You could sell plot and plan and probably make a little less, but reduce your risk. So there's definitely potential out there in Cape Town. You've just got to think slightly differently about it. It's not buy and flip here. You've definitely got to force the appreciation.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me about that event you've got with Darren, the winner of the Investor of the Year 2021 last year, Darren Francis. What are you doing on those 2 days?
100%. So Darren will be on next week as well to talk a bit about it. So we will remind you guys. But down in Cape Town, Darren and I were chatting at the networking event a couple of weeks ago, and we said we need to do something on the ground for the Cape Townians, because a lot of people think this perspective of, Cape Town's impossible to do a deal in, and it's not, because Darren and I do deals all the time. So we've got a 2-day mastermind essentially planned. We are going to go on site to one of Darren's active projects on the Friday for about half a day, do a viewing, walk around, talk about the basics of the deal, how we found it, all the information that we need to make some decisions. And then the next day, which is the Saturday, the 9th, we're going to get everyone to a boardroom, sit down. I'm going to run some basic numbers, help everyone with the theory, make sure they all understand what's happening. But then the goal is to sit down and have a mastermind with Darren, and we're going to talk about how we're finding deals in Cape Town at the moment, what kind of deals are feasible, and we're also going to discuss that deal in specific of, should Darren buy and hold it, or should he sell it? Is it a flip? Is it a development project? And essentially work everyone through and work with everyone through that process of what do we do with this deal. So it's going to be really nice. It's going to be really fun to challenge the Joburg guys on an event and show them that our deals in Cape Town.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's a 2-day event. It's the 8th and the 9th. More information is rolling out at the moment. I can quickly grab the link if you give me a second.
Yeah, awesome, man. It's always good to actually go view the property, and get hands on and see what the opportunities are like. It'll be awesome, man. Nice one. So things are happening in Cape Town. There's a link there in your chat box. I see there's a few questions coming, which is great.
Yeah.
And let us know what you're working on. I can see Taki's got a question there. She's working on a property in Primrose, which is great. Who else is busy working on properties? Are you working in projects? Are you struggling to find deals, or are you finding deals but you can't find the money? Let us know where you are in the property journey. Let us know what you're struggling with. Let us know if you're being very successful in the property market. Let us know.
Cool.
Okay.
Do we want to take a few of these questions and answer them?
Yeah, we can.
Cool. So from Kerry Lee, Kerry was very angry this week. Her project manager gave the contractor some wrong instructions on renovations, and now it's going to cost extra. How do I handle this with your project manager? So Kerry, this is all going to come down to your contract. This is common contract law in South Africa, so it depends on what you say in your contract. For me, my contractors are generally hired on a margin type basis, so they only get paid if the deal makes money or if the deal stays within a budget. So if that's the situation and they've gone over budget, then their payment gets reduced. If it's so bad, then I also have damages clauses in my PM contracts, but I've never had to enforce one. So it all comes down to what contract you have. So read the contract, chat with your attorney. Drew, your perspective on this?
Yeah, I think, Kerry, tell us, how bad is it? Was it instructions like the guy painted one wall the wrong color or the wrong kitchen, or what was the actual mistake? Because if it's a big mistake and you talk, 100,000 Rand or 200,000, like, that's a big conversation to have with the project manager. They're going to come to the table. But if it's one of those where, you're going to suck it up, you're going to swallow it, is it a $5,000, is it 500? I think depending on how bad that is and why it happened, we're blaming the project manager. It could be the project manager's fault. But, Harry, is there anything you could have done differently to avoid it or not? Now, Dave, this is the exact conversation I was having with you and the team earlier on. Because on the 28th of July, we're planning an event at the TAL Africa Greenstone branch. It's a premier event for the professional and intermediate members. And, Kerry, the event is because of situations like this. So that event at the end of July is all around project managers overspending on refurbs. And in a case like this, if the project manager has made a boo-boo and it's cost you X amount of cash, who forks? Is it your responsibility? Is it their responsibility? Dave's got a very good point. Did you have a contract or was it just an email? So, Kerry, if you can now, just try to give us a bit more information. And just to share with you, Kerry, that's why we're running that event at the end of July, is because of there's a lot of situations where builders pull the wool over your eyes, or project managers do, and we're going to be careful about that.
Yeah,
cool.
Maybe as a sort of example, I had a project going in Somerset West. It was being project managed by a guy, and I had general contractors in place. And I walked into the property and I checked the kitchen because we just got granite installed, and the kitchen sink was in a completely idiotic location. And I looked at the project manager and the granite guy, and I'm like, guys, why is the sink in a corner, literally where no one can access it? And they're like, well, that's sort of where we just decided it was best. And I'm like, you're both idiots, replace it. And I didn't see a cent. And they couldn't charge me for it because they made a decision that just didn't make sense. And they both agreed that it was a stupid decision.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
At the end of the day, that's the sort of conversation sometimes they can take it on the chin, sometimes they don't. I mean, with those two guys, I'd worked with them for years, so they owed me. They didn't want to ruin a relationship by making me pay for more granite.
Yeah, exactly. Hectic, eh? I think there's loads of horror stories. If you do have any horror stories with builders or project managers, we do want to hear about it, so please post it for us. If you've had any bad experiences, it looks like Simone has a good experience in terms of flipping a property. Simone, where was that? 410,000 Rand. Was that in Joburg? It won't be Cape Town. Bloemfontein, Pretoria. Grand. But you made some decent profit there, which is good. Well done. How did you find the deal, Simone? And Simone's asking, what advice do you have for me? So I think, Simone, it depends on what type of deals you're looking for. Are you looking just to flip? Are you looking for student accommodation deals? Where are you in your journey? It's in Boksburg, Ravenswood. Okay, brilliant. Have you just started out, Simone? Let us know quickly, where are you in your journey? There's definitely, Simone, a lot of opportunities out there in Boksburg. So Boksburg, I remember at the premier event that we had in Villa Bianca, Boksburg, it wasn't Bonaire, it was Boksburg, one of the fastest growing or highest growing capital gains areas or capital growth areas in South Africa right now. So there's a lot going on in Boksburg, which is great. I think, Simone, if you flip one in that area, go find more. Go out there. You find it on Property 24, so through an estate agent, where you can, Simone, try to get direct to sellers. Maybe look at your marketing plan. And go do the same thing over and over, but it depends what you're trying to achieve. Yes, I'm more interested in flips. Brilliant. Well, if you've done one, Simone, how many offers did you have to put in to get that one, or was it a lucky one where you put the offer in and it got accepted? Was it a bank repo? Was it a straightforward sale? There's a lot of opportunities in the East Rand of Johannesburg, especially in Boksburg. What are your thoughts, Dan?
And definitely become an area expert, rely on Property 24. Definitely understand Boxburg, understand what units are selling for and literally, so that once an alert does come, market value say 600, so anything 400,000 rand, you are able to quickly pick out that this might be a bargain. Why are they looking to sell? So yeah, definitely understand the area, get your marketing plan in place, like Andrew says, and yeah, Boxburg, like Andrew said, TPN was it the top 100, or one
I
of the
think they
top
just went
areas?
through. I think they just went through like the different regions, like the Gauteng or whatever. It wasn't the top, it was like the top 10 or something, like the top 10 suburbs
Okay.
or something like that in each
Yeah.
region, I think. But I mean, I've seen it. So I've got quite a few students investing in the Boxburg area, doing very well. Like multi-let work there, depending where
Yeah.
you are, close to the
Like
airport.
Leroy even, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds like a
So,
strong
no, it's good,
rental
eh?
market area as well. So yeah, definitely understand the area more, what is possible, and yeah, that would be cool.
Okay, cool. Simone's saying it's a lucky one, cash deal, but took long to register. Yep, there's always delays, right? We've sold a few properties recently, and she's got delay after delay. But that's a property game. That's what we're dealing with here now in South Africa. We're just going to deal with it. But Simone, go put more offers in, eh? Just go throw offers in. Look at bank repossessions as well, Simone. So you got your bank repossessed where the banks have bought the property back. Then you got properties that are in sale and execution where the bank hasn't bought the property back, but the property is going up for auction, public auction. I'm seeing more and more easy sell properties. But I mean, just someone go directly to Nedbank. On their website, go directly to Nedbank, Standard Bank, and look for the repossessed stock. Because I know that there's a question, hey Dave, from Kentucky about repossessed properties.
Yeah, so Intaki's got a deal that's been repossessed. He's just struggling to figure out the holding costs. So he's got some renovation costs spec'd out. The quick answer, Intaki, is Lifestone will give you an estimate on what your rates and taxes are. If it's in a security estate, your levies, you'll just have to ask the homeowners association for that, or the body corporates. That's the gist of it. Obviously, your cost of finance. Otherwise, Primrose, that's Dan, Drew, that's your hood. How else could they figure out the sort of monthly outgoing costs?
Yeah, so look, I'm assuming this is a straightforward. This is probably a 3-bedroom property, a 3-bed house. I'm guessing we're talking 1,000 square meters. Your rates and taxes are roughly going to be about 1,000 rand a month. But yes, you can check on Lifestone TPN. But you're probably looking at plus minus 1,000 rand, maybe 1,200 rand. In some cases, it's been a lot cheaper than that. So you got your rates and taxes. Let's just call it 1,000 rand for now. You're going to have, if the property is empty now, if it's repossessed, if there's an owner living in the property, or if there's a tenant in the property, remember, you buy that tenant, you buy that lease, you buy that owner. So is the property vacant or not? Because if it's not vacant and there's people in there, make sure you've been down to the property, you've knocked on the door, because two things happen. Either they're really nice people and they play ball. I've done a repossessed property in Primrose as well. The lady was lovely. She showed me around. She moved at the house. But then you get tenants or owners who do not open the door to you. So you buy the property, you got a bad owner or a bad tenant in there, and you are stuck with that person. The problem is you can't even evict them until you take occupation, until you register property in your name. So now you got to wait 3-4 months until the property gets registered into your name. Then you got to start the eviction process, but you got to make sure that you put those costs into your calculations. Kentucky's saying, fortunately, the property is vacant, which is awesome. So now, if you're spending 250,000, I would budget probably 3 months of that property being vacant, depending, are you flipping it or you're renting? I can't remember. It's like $1,000 a month for rates and taxes. You got your water, your electricity. Depending on the usage of what you use it, maybe throw like another 1,000 rand in there. But you got to think about things like when you do renovate the property. Once you've renovated, if you're selling it, it could be another 3-4 months until you sell. Who's going to maintain the garden? So that's another holding cost for you. But maybe that you've got to get someone there every single week to cut the grass and look after the property. But off the top of my head, I'm thinking council tax. I'm thinking electricity. I'm thinking water. I'm thinking security. Who's going to look after the property while it's vacant? But your reno cost of 250,000. add 10% onto that in case there's extras. Dave, Dan, what are your thoughts?
I definitely think you said it all. Security. Definitely, if it is a freestanding house, make sure you didn't deal with a couple of damages and stuff that does come with having a vacant property in Johannesburg. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, in
Yeah.
Primrose.
Yeah, and then
Yep.
just make sure you're checking the outstanding rates and taxes, because that is a potential that can still be inherited by the new buyers. So that is just double check that, triple check that. It is always something you need to be conscious of, specifically in Joburg, which I don't know why it's not as big a problem in Cape Town. I guess we just didn't have as many repossessed properties as you guys do.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot, which is hectic. But it's good opportunities,
That's good. So just some follow-up from Kerry Lee. So the project manager asked the tilers to remove all the tiles from the house when they're only retiling a certain section. So Kerry Lee, that sounds like a scoping issue. Being very specific and very, very detailed with your scoping documents. It is unfortunately one of those things that good project managers will do with you, and they'll sit down with you and say, Kerry, let's go through it room by room and agree with what needs to be done. If they're not documenting that sort of stuff, then it's going to be quite hard for you to make any reclaim, any recourse. Unfortunately, project management is mostly a documentation job. At the end of the day, you sit there and you just create documents saying this is what we are going to do and this is what we have done, and that's the gist of it. So you're going to have to work with them on either make sure the scope is correctly set out front, and if it is correctly set, then your contract will have means for you to fight them on it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and
Just
rubbish removal. Project managers should be able to warn you about that. Skips will cost you money, Drew. Nothing like a good skip in the UK.
Yeah, good few £100 for that skip. But I think, Dave, let's maybe go back into what's happening this weekend, next week. And in the meantime, let us know if you want us to put your name and your bet down to win where interest rates will be going in December this year. Let us know what percent you think interest rates will go up to. I think, Dave, I'm 8.5. You 8.25, I think.
8 gone, lost already.
Okay, so Dave's out. So I'm 8.5. I'm still in the game. Let us know what you're doing, where you need help, if you're stuck with anything. So I'm actually really glad that we are doing that Tile Africa event at the end of July for these questions that Kerry Lee's brought up. There's so many things in a refurb, hey, Dave, from experience that you just don't think of, or they just crop up out of nowhere. And that's what I want to do on that evening at the end of July, is talk about all of that. Get all the experience in the room. Simone saying, yes, manage our costs well. We didn't use professionals to do the work. We hired local semi-skilled workers. And that's the other thing. Do you go get a builder, a project manager to get a builder who then controls all the workers, or do you go direct and employ the semi-skilled workers, or you go direct to the painter, direct to the carpenter, direct to, and it's a massive conversation to have, because some of them are VAT registered, some of them aren't VAT registered, some of them are registered and have the right compliance, and some of them don't. There's a lot to think about. And Dave, I still see to this day people renovating houses, and instead of leaving the painting for the end, they paint the house first and then do the works on the property, where it's like the wrong way around. And it's just understanding the Gantt chart and the actual management of the property. But I think take us through the event, and we'll come back and see if there's any more questions.
I mean, just on that, the last story I told you about with the granite, if I went for a semi-skilled professional, like semi-skilled laborer nearby, they wouldn't be able to cover the costs of fixing their mistakes. So it slices both ways. But yeah, onto the events. So like we just said, it's a fairly easy 2 weeks. Thursday the 23rd at 6 o'clock, we got our Mastermind. So that's for intermediate, professional, and the SAP and youth guys. I'll put the links in the chat box in a second. But if you want access to that and you haven't got access yet, just make sure you email support. Then there's the development workshop on Tuesday with Mark and Andrew. So that's going to be developments as an investment strategy from 6 until about 7, maybe 7:30. It's a free webinar. Anyone's welcome to join, just to learn a little bit about developments and whether or not you should be looking at it. And then coaching and legal support on Thursday nights. Andrew and I will be hosting that along with Dan and the team from Intergen and Bruno Smart Attorneys, just answering questions for our members and the people who are in the fundamentals courses and the development courses. That's the gist of it for the next 2 weeks. I want to quickly grab that text and just repaste it over here for everyone.
Awesome. And then, Dan, what about you, man, with your events coming up in 10 days, eh? The 30th of June at the Northwest University in Mafeking. I wonder how many people we have, members out of Mafeking, eh, Dan?
Thing to find out how to actually network with. I know Sapin hasn't had it with the clients in, so it would be interesting to network with everyone, just to understand what they're doing, what works in the Northwest. And I'll be at the Northwest University in Mafeking, where the Northwest University asks us to talk to their students about property investment. That's going to be tons of fun from 9 up till say 2. That's what we have scheduled on, and it's going to be absolutely amazing, huh?
Okay, cool, man. Nice one. So Lisa's there's quite a few events coming up, which is good. Looking forward to our professional mastermind on Thursday night, which is all about accountability, holding you as investors accountable. We break into different rooms. We have talks on different subjects. It's a really good event this Thursday night for our professional and intermediate members. So, yeah, I mean, what else is happening? Are there any comments? You've got Taki talking about interest rates going up to 9.25% by next year, March. Geez, yeah, that's going up quite a lot, Kentucky. But we'll put your bet down. But Kentucky, what do you think about December this year? So December, probably the first week of December, Dave and I will bring this out in the coffee chat and see who wins the bet. I see there's a question from Kentucky as well. 100% right. And the other, what does Kentucky say there? And the other problem is that I need to put down a 10% down payment before the bank look at my offer. Which bank is it? It seems it's been in the market for 5 months. This is for 3 agents. Is a way to communicate the down payment out in a repossessed. When it's a repossessed property and the banks own it, from my personal experience, the banks don't like to negotiate. It's their terms, or it's their way or the highway.
Yeah.
It's not common, though. I've never put 10% down. Yes, to put my offer down, it's on a sliding scale, but it's more like 7,500 Rand or 8,000 or 10,000 Rand. So they're looking for a commitment. But 10%, so they're asking you for 80,000. The banks I've dealt with have never asked me for 10%. They've asked me to commit something, whatever it is, whatever the terms and conditions are. Like the last one I've done recently was 7,500 Rand. That we submitted just for the offer, but you get that back or they take it off of the deposit or the purchase price moving forwards. So we know, yeah, Nedbank. That's the offer I dealt with the property here in Edenvale a few weeks ago. They never asked for 10%. They're all, if you look at the terms and conditions, it's in the offer price. I've got the document somewhere. It's a fee. The 800,000 Rand, I offered 500,000 Rand, and I had to pay 7,500 Rand. So yeah, just check that out, Kentucky. Okay.
Yep.
But yes, you do have to commit to something.
Yeah. Plus side is they would have cleared all the rates and taxes, so there's not going to be any debts like that there. So that's always nice. There's an advantage to PIPs. Your margins are going to be lower. But at the end of the day, like Drew said, you're buying from the bank, and their banks aren't as negotiable. It's not that they aren't wanting to sell the property. It's more they have a system and process that they want to follow, and that's vetted by their legal teams. And to break that legal process requires a lot of work from them, and they're not going to do it for a small deal.
Yeah.
If you're buying a 40 million rand property, you probably have a better chance there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also the other thing is with that offer, I'm just thinking now, you submit the offer. So I submitted the offer, and only if they agreed in principle that yes, they're happy with my offer, that's when I've got 7 days or 48 hours or whatever it was to then pay that 7,500. So Nedbank still let you put your offer forward. They review the offer. It'll be their offer, not your offer, so their OTP. They send it to you. You fill out 2 forms. You send it to them. They come back saying yes or no. For me, it's a no because it's too low. But if they said yes, I'll then have to pay the 7,500 Rand in X amount of time, just to clarify that. But yeah, no, it's been good, guys. Thanks to everyone. There's some awesome events coming up. Simone, well done. Go out there and do some more flips. And yeah, anything from your side, Dan and Dave?
Dan?
All good, Mara. Thanks so much for having me. Always fun talking to the both of you and just seeing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. People are still active. I think people are still fairly positive, which is good. They're still positive. They still want to invest. I mean, it's like anything. Markets go up, markets go down. You've just got to learn to adapt in those markets.
100%.
Cool. On your side, Dave?
Just for me, really focused and looking forward to our Cape Town events. It's one of our first proper Cape Town events in a while. We haven't done much, so really excited to spend some time with Darren, spend some time with the Cape Town investors, and get involved with everyone. So if you're excited for that one, make sure you let us know. I did post the link in the chat box a little earlier. And the brokerage also has an event this evening. They have a webinar. So if you want to see what deals the brokerage is busy with, you're welcome to take a look at the link that Isabel just shared in the chat box.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well done, everyone. Have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next Monday for the next coffee chat. Bring your questions with.
Cool. Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Dan.